Hey guys, it's me Pokemon. I'm back, and I'm finally going to be covering the brand new update that's come to Marvel Strike Force. The Venom update has come roughly last week, around Tuesday, I believe. I did not have time to talk about it, but now I'm finally going to be talking about it. I'm going to cover Venom's moveset in this video, Mystique's moveset, and I'm going to briefly talk about everything else that's come in the update. They have the brand new mode Dark Dimension, but I can't really talk about that yet because it's not out, but I will talk about Venom and Mystique. So Venom, he is a controller, so another controller, but villain, very great. We do need more villains, so always happy to see more villains. So at the end of the day, I'm cool with it because he's a villain. So Venom's basic attack, what he has going on here, is he's essentially going to apply bleed to an enemy, and then he's going to flip two of their positive effects. So it's sort of one of those, we have a couple of those skills in the game where they just kind of flip positive effects, well, or at least they apply negative effects. So we're going to see that as a common thing that comes through with Venom throughout this entire video, where sort of what he does is he just sort of debuffs the enemies, and then that's really how he wins. He does okay, like, direct damage, but you'll find he's applying bleed very, very often. Venom's special is Violate. He'll attack the primary target. He'll apply 3 bleed, which is, that's a lot of bleed, and he'll apply ability block, and then that combos right in with Corruption. So we got some very dark names for Venom's moveset. And what this will do is it'll spread all the negative effects from the primary target to all adjacent targets. So the general idea is you use Violate on somebody, you apply the 3 stacks of bleed, then you apply Corruption to just push out those stacks of bleeds to the entire team. And that can be kind of crazy, especially combined with like Quake when you're slowing the team. Just a lot of stuff coming out from Venom, and that it can pile up quickly. One of the problems I do find is usually Venom actually kills the opponent with all those bleeds before I can actually get to spread them, but that's a good problem to have, I think. Venom's passive is Symbiosis. Essentially, he has a pretty high chance to heal himself at the beginning of his turn, and if he's above a certain percentage of his health, he'll gain defense up for 2 turns, so he's actually a somewhat tanky character. Very interesting moveset. Also, he does gain 100% focus up if Spider-Man is on his team, so we're going to see a little bit of a combo between the two. That means that Venom can apply his stacks of bleed a lot more reliably. All in all, I'd say he's a pretty great character. I'd put him at A tier right now. I don't think he breaks the game or anything, but he's a pretty good character, and I think he's worthwhile to put on your team, especially with the city tag. We don't have a ton of city heroes, but we did have the recent buff to city heroes, and I do plan on working with Valley Flying one of these days to bring out a brand new tier list to talk about those changes to the defenders. Before I talk about Mystique, I'd like to go over everything else that's been added to the game. You can see the brand new Venom campaign. Nothing really new. That's sort of how it is. You can hop in here. You'll run the Venom campaign. You'll go from node to node, earn the Venom orb shards to then open up Venom orbs to get Venom shards. But then now what they're doing is they're combining it with a brand new Alliance raid that you can run through here. As you can see right here, you're participating in this raid in order to get more Venom shards, or for his orb fragments at least. And as you can see, you're roughly getting 1 orb every time you run this raid, which is nice. And you're getting the orange and the gold orb fragments, but I just don't find raids all that fun in this game. So to have to now do raids and the campaign for a new character, that's just like, they said they split the rewards between the two, which is okay. But now we're doing more work for the same amount of rewards, roughly. So I don't know. I'm not, like, crazy about it. I'm not a huge fan of Alliance raids, but it's whatever. There could be worse things than having more things to do in the game. And then, as you can see, everything's been Venomized. I kind of like the Dark City background. I think that looks pretty nice, actually. And if you go over to Alliance, once we wait for our helicarrier to load, they added a brand new type of status buff sort of function in this game in Stark Tech. So I'll talk a little bit about Stark Tech and how I feel about that. So Alliance donation, every day you can donate 10,000 gold or power cores, but I really wouldn't advise doing power cores because, like, is it really that? I mean, it's not worth that many power cores. But as you can see right here, by donating, you'll then get these Alliance donation, what do they call them? Oh man, I just spent them by trying to figure out what they were called. You get, what do they call these? Alliance credits. And you can spend these Alliance credits on Stark Tech. They do actually have the appropriate JPEGs on mobile, but because I'm doing this on an emulator, it's going to do all this question mark stuff right here. But you can spend it to increase the stat percentages of characters from different origins. So as you can see, Tech, Bio, Mystic, Skill, and Mutant, those are the 5 origins. You can invest those alliance credits into those to each sort of origin to buff up their status effects by 1%. So you can buff their health by 1%, their damage by 1%, their armor by 1%. You can do this 20 times, so you can get a max of a 20% increase to, I think, all of a character's stats. Very interesting. Good things, now you can clear PvE a little more easier because now you're going to have higher stats on all your characters. Bad thing, PvP, now there's a little bit of like, if you're a new player going against a top tier player, like you just flat out, they have better characters than you. So I don't really know how I feel about that. And what is nice, though, is that this does carry over from Alliance to Alliance. As someone who's in the MIT branch of Alliances, sometimes I have to move from MIT Alliance to MIT Alliance to find somewhere I fit better. And it's nice that I won't lose all of my progress on Stark Tech as I move from Alliance to Alliance. So I'm just really glad that they did do that. That would have been kind of scummy if they made you lose it if you had to leave your Alliance. And then finally, we're going to talk about Mystique's kit. Now, Mystique is not actually in the game. She's going to be coming to a node in the campaign. I believe she was replacing... I don't know who she's replacing, like Hand Sorceress or something later in the campaign. Nothing, you know, we're not missing out on much by putting Mystique in the campaign. But what's kind of interesting about her is when she is coming, she's bringing a new Brotherhood tag. And then with that, you're going to be getting a lot more of the Brotherhood characters, including Sabretooth, I believe, within the coming months to build up to a Magneto event. So very interesting. Awesome to have more villains. Always a good thing to get more villains in this game, and I'm excited to see the rest of the Brotherhood come to the game. I wonder if they do Quicksilver as a villain, because like I'm still kind of like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch as Magneto's children and in the Brotherhood of Evil. I think it's Brotherhood of Evil or Brotherhood of Mutants. So I always view Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch as Brotherhood members, but hey, whatever. So as you can see with Mystique's kit, I believe she's another villain controller. So again, we're seeing like, how many controllers is this in a row now? Like another controller, but for Mystique, again, we'll let it pass because she's a villain and she has a really cool kit. We do not know her numbers because this has been data mined, but essentially Mimic Strike, attack their primary target for X amount of damage, plus bonus attack X amount of times for X amount of damage. Then she'll copy X positive effect from the target and then apply it to herself. So, relatively run-of-the-mill basic attack we've seen here where they attack the opponent, then they copy their positive effects. But sort of fits Mystique's motive with sort of mimicking other people and their powers, and we'll get to see that really come in later with her kit. Her special is Infiltrate. She'll attack the primary target for X percentage of damage with an X percentage chance to attack every stealthed enemy on the enemy team, obviously, for an X percentage of the damage, and then remove the stealth. So this could be a counter to Black Widow. Could be very interesting. We'll have to see how this plays out in the game. We'll have to see the actual percentage values, and then if there is no stealth target, she'll gain stealth on herself, so that's great that it's not just you're either using her against Black Widow or you're really not using her. So she's still going to be useful even if you're not going against somebody like Black Widow. Then her ultimate is Shapeshifter. This is really cool. She'll attack one target for X percentage of damage, then she'll turn into that target, so she'll shapeshift. Then the enemy team will be like, which one do I shoot? And then they'll shoot the enemy for even more damage, then you gain speed up. So I wonder if you're sort of going to stay as that character that you've mimicked, or you're going to then get to use their skills, or is this just sort of an animation where you're going to turn into the enemy, and then the enemy's allies are going to be like, who do I shoot? And they're going to shoot the enemy by accident, and then you turn back into Mystique, and you're like, haha, got him. Or are you going to stay as the enemy and then be able to use their skills? So I don't know. It doesn't sound like you are staying as the enemy, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Either way, very interesting skill. Then her passive is Subterfuge. X percentage dodge chance, and then on spawn she'll gain evade. So this gives her a little bit of time to survive in order to be able to transform into the enemies. So always great to have that on her kit. You can never have too much evade. And if Magneto is her ally, they'll extend the duration of positive effects on him and herself by 1, so she'd gain evade for 2 turns, and whatever Magneto gets is then extended too. So a lot of really interesting stuff coming out with Mystique. I really like her kit. It really fits Mystique, the whole idea that she's turning into the enemy and people are like, who do I shoot? That's a very common thing you'll see in like the classic X-Men cartoons with her, so very happy to see that come through. Very excited for the Brotherhood of Mutants, and I'd say this is still another very solid month for Marvel Strike Force, so we'll have to see how Dark Dimension plays out. Let me know what you think down below, guys. With that being said, I'll see you guys later. Signing off.